Leon in Resident Evil 4 has many guns to his disposal to aid him in the mission to save the president's daughter. But what if Leon forgot to bring his fancy guns? In this video, we will find out, can you beat Resident Evil 4 without using any guns? Starting a new game, I set the difficulty to professional, and we are sent on our way to save the president's daughter. Intruding in a poor old man's home, he finally had enough of people intruding in his home, so broke his neck. It's okay. They can't hurt you anymore. Confirming that Ashley is indeed here, I was visited by the rest of his family, and since I'm not one for socializing, I had to see my way out. Arriving at the village, I pretty much continued to run in a giant circle while avoiding a crazy bagged man wielding a chainsaw. The bell rang. We got the most iconic line in the game.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Then hit with the title card. Curious about some weird banging, I intrude another man's home and sent him to Jesus. Almost felt bad about it till I found that he was doing inappropriate things to people. Then I get absolutely manhandled and knocked out. Waking up, I find out that the village is really into BDSM. They're also thieves, because they stole all my gear. A kind and totally trustworthy man unlocked the jail doors for me. I ran for dear life while avoiding all the crazy people trying to play hot potato with me while using a live dynamite. A clumsy lady stepped in a bear trap. Trying to help her, I think I accidentally blew her back out. Later, snagging the key, I ran into the big cheese. Then Leon must have pulled a pistol out of his prison pocket, because last I checked, I didn't have a gun in my inventory. On a lovely stroll, the floor failed me. I gun it for the gas can and use it to fill up the boat. Then it's off to the most boring boss fight in the game. Nothing about him is hard, just keep throwing harpoons till the poor fish can't take it anymore. I wake up from another nap, and now the villagers are into tentacles. I briefly go fishing for some more healing supplies, explore the chicken island for the legendary golden egg, grab one of the two heads to unlock a key, and took some time to appreciate how I completely filled my inventory. A villager with dynamite took it upon himself to try and take all three of us out, but failed. I grabbed the final head to acquire the key, and on my way to the church, it was time to face El Gigante. I started off with throwing a few nades, and while he took the time to lift some houses, I just kept giving a few jabs to his knees. I eventually kind of got him stuck in this weird loop where he would just never hit me, and use this to shank his meaty calves. Once his weak point is exposed, I use a flashbang to bring him to his knees and go to town. I rinse and repeat this process again and again until the big boy was finally down. Then, finally arriving at the church, I was assaulted by a chandelier. I don't know why. I decided I wanted to disarm one of the villagers. It's okay though, I'll let him get a good couple of licks in before taking his last arm. We make a run for the cabin with Leon's fan club right behind us. On my first attempt, I pretty much just put my parry skills to work, before eventually getting overwhelmed and ultimately dying. On my next attempt, I managed to last till the elite showed up and destroyed my window. I used flashbangs, stabs, and nades to very quickly take him out, and finally escape Leon's fan club. Trying to make it past the fort, I died here quite a few times, mostly due to Ashley's incompetence to avoid getting kidnapped, forcing me to eventually use a flashbang to ensure us both the way out. We witnessed Leon's quick thinking of doing a backflip because he clearly couldn't have done anything else here. Then it was time to deal with the Chainsaw Sisters. I pretty much used lantern fires, enemy fires to slow the will of the group down. I eventually get a little carried away and died. Next attempt, I play a little more careful this time and eventually cleared them all out. The big cheese tried to hit on Ashley. I told him she wasn't interested, then he pimp slapped me for ruining the mood. Losing him through the destroyed bridge and falling on my face, he came back to give me some flying lessons. In return, I gave him a fireworks show up close. Dealing with him like everything else, I began shanking. It must have been really effective because before I know it, I find myself chasing after him like I'm in some kind of Looney Tunes show.
Why are you running?
Unfortunately, on my first attempt, my knife broke. With nothing to kill him with, I had to reload a save. Second attempt, just a rinse and repeat for the first one, using the ladders to avoid explosive barrels he throws. And eventually, after like 15 minutes of stabbing, the beast finally went down. Arriving at the castle, I ran into some catapults that apparently never heard of friendly fire. Once I freed the cannon, I came to my first fail of the run, because you had to use the cannon to destroy the door. Running into the garret door, I believe they're called, he wasn't all that difficult. A couple parries gave me the opening to his weakness. Made a couple oopsies here and there, but eventually he bit the dust by my trusty blade. I failed the run once again and had to use a gun to shoot the bells to open the gate. I'm sure there are glitches I could use, but I'd prefer to keep the run as legit as possible. The next part I was dreading the most. If you know, you know. For those of you that don't know, let me explain. You and Ashley get separated to raise the hidden platforms, and if you use a gun, it wouldn't be that hard, but since that's not an option, I needed to use a lot of flashbangs. I spent nearly an hour and a half having to constantly reload a save because Ashley would just stand there and have me waste all my flashbangs. Eventually, I managed to raise the platform, barely crossing the bridge with my life, and I was separated from Ashley once again. I once again go fishing for some heals, saw a zealot with something shiny and I wanted it, and he was so kind enough to simply hand it to me. I have a little dance with Ada, finally purchased the final upgrade for my knife, and unfortunately had to use a gun once again to drop the bridge. I met El Gigante's long lost brother, and had no choice but to use the cannon to dispose of the giant and the reinforced door. Then comfort Ashley for nearly stabbing me. In the maze, I bit a little more than I could chew with some dogs, dropped a flag that summoned reinforcements. After dealing with the last of that reinforcements, I dropped the remaining flags and escaped the maze. I used my flashbang to prevent the zealot from dropping the bridge, allowing me to grab the goat head with no problem. Then I used another flashbang to run past the incoming enemies, and then grab the lion head, resulting in upsetting the knights. Just like everything else, if you know how to parry and use flashbangs, the knights are fairly easy to deal with. After placing the 3 heads, Leon found himself trapped and goes to John Wick mode. Ashley's segment wasn't anything special, I just ran for dear life. I tried running past some annoying bugs, but in classic Resident Evil 4 fashion, I got double whammied, causing my death. Next attempt, and things go a lot smoother. I used a gun once more to drop yet another bridge, and then I had to deal with 2 Garradors. It actually wasn't hard, I just whittled down their health using heavy frags and finishing them off with a couple of quick stabs. I witnessed Ashley drink some hobo water and was then tossed down a hole. Nothing down here was even really a threat to me with my superior parrying skills, or, that's what I thought, till Vertigo showed up. I just continued running in a giant circle, once in a while freezing him and putting him in his place to insert dominance. Eventually the elevator arrives and I finally meet up with Luis. Luis helped me acquire the dynamite to clear out the path ahead, and then it was time to face Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I kept shanking Tweedledee in the rectum till I had the chance to give him some swimming lessons. Luis placed a stack of dynamite on Tweedledum, and with one well-placed nade throw, his weakness was now exposed. For fun, I decided to take out Tweedledum the normal way, using knives and flashbangs to take him out. I was then forced to use a gun yet again while riding the carts, and then had to witness Luis get stabbed in the back. It shouldn't come to a shocker, but due to my skills in parrying, Krauser is an absolute walk in the park, even when facing him unprofessional. Making my way back to the throne room, I grabbed the second golden egg, and then I took some time to sit down and think about my next challenge video. Making my way through the clock tower, I used a nade to destroy the statue trap, and then did an archer dirty by pushing her into the spiked ball. But that wasn't nearly as dirty as what I did to this guy, dropping it directly on his head. The elevator ride was pretty simple. I just used flashbang and nades to stun and remove anyone that hops on. Confronting Ramon, I used the 2 golden eggs I collected to deal with him in seconds. Making it to the island, I ran past the enemies guarding the entrance. I slowly managed to stealthily take care of the guys guarding the security system, restored power to a door, and acquired the keycard. Pulling the lever to switch the power, a cutscene started just in time for me to tell myself this is about to hurt. I used a thermoscope to find out which regenerator had the wrench. I could technically argue I wasn't using the gun, but using the thermoscope. While fighting the regenerator, he decided to free all of his friends from his chamber, and then shortly realizing how screwed I was, I went ahead and reloaded a save to try again. Next attempt, I decided to keep him away from the chambers and use the windows to allow me to slowly destroy all of his weak points. I activated the final sequence of the keycard and ran for dear life till eventually the process was finished, then gave Ashley her healthy dose of drugs. In the sewers, I had a confrontation with the Iron Maiden. He actually wasn't all that difficult, because with my attack speed, I pretty much just kept him stun locked. After turning on the power, I used a flashbang to allow me just enough time to regroup with Ashley across the bridge and take out the enemies as they grabbed Ashley. We finally approached the wall. I used 2 heavy nades to weaken the wall so it would go down in one swing, and once the wall was destroyed, I had to deal with the remaining enemies, which again wasn't all that difficult. Running up the elevator, we finally met Sadler, and then it was time for my favorite boss fight in the entire game. Starting off our fight, I threw a nade that bonked him right in the forehead, and since it's obvious I love using knives for Resident Evil 4, it should be a surprise as to why I've always enjoyed Krauser's boss fight. The whole thing just feels cinematic. In his second phase, I gave him the kick of a lifetime, and it helped him realize he wasn't ready to handle my superior fighting skills. On his final stage, I'm not gonna lie, he was a bit more than I could chew at first. Using all of my frag nigs, and breaking all of my knives and now leaving me no way to kill him, I had to reload a save. Going through his phase again, I went with a different strategy, climbing up and down ladders, stabbing him during his animation, carefully parrying and dodging, and then I managed to finally kill Krauser just before my knife could break. Mike finally arrived to help clear the enemies while I sat and wait for enemies to try and climb my ladder. Eventually, the AA gun shows up, and I use my 2 heavy nades to quickly dispose of it. I use another ladder to kill anyone that tries to climb it, use a couple flashbangs to pull the lever to open the metal door, and I lost Mike. He was the greatest 2-minute friend I could ever ask for. He will be missed. Running past all the enemies to open the path to Ashley, I got a glimpse of the chaos behind me and barely escaped with my life. Ada helped me escape with Ashley, and they removed our parasites. Shortly after, Ada and I had a confrontation with Sadler, and for some reason our first thought was to split up. I really wish I could say this boss fight was hard, but I had a far harder time with Krauser than my fight with Sadler. Throwing some well-placed nades and using Krauser's powerhouse of a knife, resulting in him getting stun locked every time he was in knifing range, eventually he had enough and went into second stage. All you do from there is just dodge his attacks until Ada tosses the RPG. Failing the run for the last time, having to use the RPG to defeat Sadler, I made sure he paid for making me use all those weapons during the run. I had a thrilling jet ski ride with Ashley and then escaped the exploding island, completing the game and showing that no, you cannot beat Resident Evil 4 the remake without using guns. That'll be the end of the challenge video. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you guys have any ideas for a challenge in the future, leave them in the comments. And if you guys would like to see more Resident Evil challenges, leave a like and let me know in the comments. I plan to try and upload every week or every other week, and I hope to see you all in the next video.